Everybody, we're going live.
Are we here?
Uh-huh.
Can we do it? Yay! We're live.
We're here. Alrighty, Kaylee. Here you go. Go away and be quiet.
What's my face doing today?
So, fun fact you don't know, we bribe Kaylee. It doesn't last for long. But she knows when Grace comes over on Sunday, she gets a greenie.
Yeah.
And so as soon as Grace gets over, she basically starts demanding for her greenie to the point where she has, for a short dog, she's gotten onto this desk to get the greenie if we're not paying attention. So Slytherin. I don't know how a Ravenclaw and a Hufflepuff got a Slytherin dog, but that happened.
Reasons. She had a life. She had a whole life.
She did.
Before she met y'all.
She did. Man. Anything interesting this week?
I'm looking for Netflix suggestions for spring break.
Do they have to be kid friendly?
No, not at all, because the kids. So some of you may not know, I got a really awesome surprise.
I'm pretty sure none of them know.
For Valentine. I wasn't sure if I shared it or not.
I don't remember.
I got an awesome surprise gift for Valentine's Day. That was a ticket to go visit a friend from back home, who I have not seen in years.
She has friends that aren't me.
I'm sorry, and they have little.
I have nothing. I'm just informing them. I have no problem with it.
I have little tiny, and they have little tiny people in their houses, and I can't wait. Little tiny people and dogs.
I like the dogs.
Big dogs, tiny people. And I'm very excited.
Big people, tiny homes.
Yeah. Very similar. Anyway, but I mean, we're going to do our share of watching Masha and the Bear, is what I've been told.
Never heard of it.
Probably never will.
Probably
it's
never.
A toddler's TV show.
I still haven't heard the Baby Shark thing.
Good.
Yeah, no, I try not to.
Masha and the Bear is fucking awesome.
Is it?
Yeah, it's a little blonde girl.
I mean, I like bears.
She has a friend who's bear.
Okay, so basically it was me.
And they fuck around. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. Yes, I'm looking for Netflix suggestions to hang out on the couch and watch with my bestie Jen.
That's good. The one I'm currently watching is on Amazon Prime. I'll cover that in the main cast.
Yes.
I did just finish watching something. See, I would say Umbrella Academy, but I'm assuming that that Jesse would want to see Umbrella Academy.
You know, he hasn't mentioned it.
Okay. If he has no interest in seeing it, I highly suggest Umbrella Academy.
I might do Umbrella Academy. Oh, we did watch a few episodes of Greatest American Hero.
Oh my gosh!
Which I'd actually never seen. I just knew the song.
That's something.
Yeah, it was really fun. And here's the thing. That show could easily exist now.
Oh, 100%.
If you rework the characters and put a couple of people of color in there, add
100%.
a little diversity to that cast.
100%.
So in my head, it was, I forget her name, the woman from Community, Yvette Nicole Brown.
Yes.
I want her to be the FBI agent.
Okay.
The surly, salty FBI agent working with the young kid.
Yeah.
I don't know who plays the young kid yet.
It's some newcomer.
Yes. But I like her as a surly FBI
Wait, I forget how. No, I want him to play different roles. There's the kid, the 13-year-old. I think the show he's 13. I don't know his actual age. That's in Umbrella Academy.
Okay.
Is a fucking amazing actor, and I think he'd be great in something like that. But I kind of want him to save him for something that's a lot more deep and complex. Because let's listen. I love Great American Hero. It's not a deep and complex show.
No, this is just like a weekly. It's just got to be good. It's characters with good chemistry.
Exactly.
So if it's not her and the other woman I like for it, and this would be typecasting, so I kind of don't want it. But it's the woman from Grey's Anatomy who plays Dr. Bailey.
Nope. No clue.
Anyway, I want that role to be something unexpected, not the old white man.
Okay.
And I would like.
And if it's going to be an old white man, it has to be someone like Ian McKellen, just for reasons of.
Well, it's an old American FBI agent.
Again, Ian McKellen could easily play him.
Here's the thing: if we're gonna go white male, it's Jake Johnson. Which I know is not old,
He's
but
not
it's
old.
the right person. It's the right
is.
personality. It's all about the right personality.
I just listened to, by the way, speaking of podcasts, the reason Ian McKellen popped in my head is because David Tennant now has a podcast.
Oh, right.
And it's goddamn delightful. Like the most delightful thing
Of course.
you could possibly imagine
Tennant.
because it's a thing of David Tennant. And his most recent one was with Sir Ian McKellen. And it
Yes.
is just, I'm like, can this conversation never end?
Can I talk forever?
Can I just pull up a dram and just knit and listen to you guys talk
Why
for
not?
hours on end?
But otherwise, nothing crazy to report.
I have nothing too crazy. Well, I'll cover what I'm watching on the main cast again. Let's just get to the main cast.
Let's get it doing. Let's get it to doing.
Let's
Words
get it to
Words are
doing.
hard.
Words are so hard.
That's words for a while.
Words are hard. Kaylee, get a hush. Alrighty, what episode are we on?
162.
I like how I started recording before we got to that part. Welcome to episode 162 of There's No Place Like Terra, a Stargate First Watch Rewatch podcast. I am Nixie.
And I'm Grace, and today we are going over Atlantis Season 1, Episode 4, Suspicion. Did I say Atlantis? There's too many things to say.
You said Atlantis. You said Atlantis.
AKA... I don't have an AKA.
Trust no one.
Trust no one.
AKA Who Runs the World? Girls.
That's a good one. Women are doing it for themselves.
You better work. Okay.
Although I have some words for Weir.
Yes.
I have some words for Weir today.
We have words for many people today.
Mm-hmm.
So before we get to the episode, because I was saying this in the pre-video portion of the podcast, so I have been bacheloretting it this week.
Yeah.
There's bartender Nick went up to his family up in the Virginia area, and so I've been basically Kaylee. If there's not two humans around, Kaylee doesn't want anything to do with whatever he's home.
She's like, there's nothing to her. There's just one of you. I know where you are.
Like, I can barely get her to like play with her favorite toys. And she's like, she just side-eyes me like no one's business. So I have been spending a lot of time spinning. I spin yarn. I don't just knit.
And we're not saying she tells stories. She literally spins yarn.
I literally,
not yarns.
I'm looking at my spinning wheel right now where I'm plying some beautiful stuff together. Anyway,
I know some of those words.
And I have been watching Vikings. So I started watching Vikings. I mean, I heard about this coming out, and I think I watched like the first season once it was available somewhere streaming. And I was like, that's fun, blah, blah, blah. And then recently I was like, you know what? I want to watch Vikings. So I went back, and there's now like 5 seasons. And the last couple are split, like 10 episodes split into 2. So it's like extra seasons, bonus seasons, if you will. It is so good. It is, first of all, Lagertha. If we're talking about strong women this week.
Yeah, speaking of.
Oh my God. I just want to be her with a little less, like, death.
I mean, some death is fine as long as it's not your own.
As long as it's not my own. I also would not have the stomach to be one of the shield maidens. As much as I would love to be a shield maiden, that wouldn't work for me very well.
I don't believe you.
Okay.
Here's why. If you were bred into it,
that's what
you
I'm
would
saying.
Be a badass.
That's what I'm saying. If I had gone my current, like, 21st century mindset.
Yeah, if we dropped you in Outlander style, you might have trouble.
I might have problems. Had I just been brought up, no, I probably would have been a badass formidable shield maiden. Because I could, one of those things where when you're larger than some of the guys.
Nixie gonna take you out.
Yes. But no, it's such a fun series, and I'm not queasy, but some of the violence in that makes me go, okay, so you went there.
Cool.
Cool.
So we're just gonna look at that for a while.
I've been spinning and knitting and watching Vikings, and that's been my life for the past week. It's kind of been.
I feel like I've just been like
awesome.
homework, home. In fact, I've been at work early. It's been crazy times for me there, but that's okay. Yes. I did, however, start listening to Root of Evil.
I haven't heard of that one.
Root of Evil is the story. It's really interesting. So the Black Dahlia murder.
Yes.
We all know the Black Dahlia murder.
If you don't, maybe don't look it up.
It's the most, or look it up.
Look it up, but
don't look at pictures.
Don't look at pictures.
Yeah. it's like, I think it's considered the most famous unsolved murder
I think so.
in American history. And so this story tells us, this is the story of these two sisters who are telling their mom's story.
Yeah.
Now their mom and their grandmother are related to the man that's most likely the murderer.
Yeah.
What was her name? Elizabeth something. I don't have my facts. All I'm saying is they basically found a bunch of her mom's old journals, old recordings, a bunch of stuff, and they've made it a podcast. And then Patty Jenkins made it a TV show.
Oh, yeah, because that's the one that Chris Pine is going to star in.
It's tied, and so the show's on, and the podcast kind of works in conjunction with it. I haven't started watching the show yet.
Yeah, I was one of those things where I definitely wanted to start watching the show because of you have multiple elements that I love that have come together to make this series.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the name. I Am the Night is the name of the show.
I remember this now.
And so, of course, because we're MFM fans,
of course,
I got sucked into it. And because I don't watch enough TV, I just do a lot of reading or listening to things.
So it fits perfectly.
Yeah, so I've been listening to I Am the Night. I've also been listening to The Universe in an Atom by the Dalai Lama.
Oh, okay.
Which is a little heady.
Yes.
But so we all know that I'm not the science brain.
Yeah.
I'm just not. To the point where I have to take, I'm a junior in college, technically, and I'm now finally taking my science requirement, which is a Bio 101 class.
Yeah.
Any other 101 class, I'd be like, I can do this in my sleep. But it's science, so my heart's like in my throat the whole time about it. And I had to text my circle of women and go, I'm very unprepared for this. So the Dalai Lama's approach is basically like how faith and science are interconnected.
Yes.
So that's helping me open my mind to understanding science.
Definitely. So, if you're interested in somebody like that, I would say, guys, Carl Sagan fan, shocker. He has first of all, to read Contact, especially if you're talking about sort of the intersection of science and faith and things like that. The movie is fine. The movie's great, but the book dives into these things in a way that a mainstream movie was not ever going to.
Nice.
And there's also a book that sort of pairs with it that his wife put out after he passed called The Varieties of Scientific Experience. And it is his Guilford lectures that he did. It's essentially a theology conference. And he went in there and did these lectures. And in the back is one of my favorite things is basically Q&As between him and these leading theological scholars.
See, I would love to do that. And because the thing, again, I think for me, it's just about finding a touchstone into it. Logic makes sense, but I always need some sort of metaphor or some sort of like heartstone to touch. You know what I mean? Otherwise, I'm like, I don't get it.
There's some sort of quote unquote science writers who are a lot better at that than others. Which is why I think Carl Sagan is one of those ones who's really, really good about it. Neil deGrasse Tyson is one of those ones who's really, really good about it.
Yeah, it's about finding a way to make the facts digestible.
And there's other ones who I absolutely adore are not as good at that.
Sometimes it reads like an academic journal and Grace want nap.
Exactly. So
tell me a story.
For sure.
I dig it.
Yeah, I've been listening to the Ron Burgundy podcast.
What?
And it's one of those where it's not as good as the movies. And sometimes it's a little cringe, but at the same time, I'm still listening to it.
Because it's Ron Burgundy?
Because you're like, he had Deepak Chopra.
Jeez, that's strange.
In the weirdest way. And it's just, he had RuPaul on the most recent one.
Oh, that way I would listen to.
And they ranked the top 10 women. One of the
in the world?
Yeah. One of the top 10 women in the world was Lassie.
Wow.
It is Will Ferrell being the most sort of Will Ferrell.
Lassie, that sassy bitch. Tell me they said that at least once.
I don't remember. It was just, it's a bizarre podcast. It is the most performance art podcast I've
I'm into
run
it.
across. And again, it's one of those where I still can't decide why I'm listening to it still. But
Because
I am.
why not?
Because
Awesome.
Why not?
Why are we here again?
why are we
Welcome
here?
to the podcast recommendation podcast.
I was actually listening to old My Favorite Murder while I was sewing new workout pants yesterday because that's who I am in life. Okay, so are we going to episode this?
Yes.
Haley. Alrighty.
Yeah, I did not find it good, aka I was just my brain kept going very superstitious, which I did at the end of last week, and we learned that it doesn't work.
It does not work.
So super suspicious is what this is.
We'll come across one as we go.
Let's go.
We'll come across one. August 6, 2004. It was written by Joe and Paul, directed by Mario Azzopardi. And we see a lot of Bates. In this episode.
Bates.
We don't like him, but we continue seeing him.
Bates.
He is played by Dean Marshall, who actually, as most horrible people in TV shows that we hate are, the actor's great.
Of course. Look, you can't play that evil if you're not good at what you do. Yeah.
He was actually, the reason he looked so good as a sergeant, though, is because he was in the Canadian military for 6 years.
Nice.
And he joined at 18, dove right in. And he's been in all of those Canadian shows, I call them. Fringe, Eureka, Smallville. You've seen him. He's been a lot.
Made in Canada shows.
Yes.
They should have a label. Like the Made in USA.
Exactly.
Made in Canada.
Made in the Great White North. I'm going to butcher his last name, but James Lafazanos. Yeah.
Lafazanos.
Thank you.
Yay.
So he plays the male wraith that we see, the lead singer, as I call him.
Is that Taser Man or not Taser Man?
It's not Taser Man. It's the man at the cell at the end.
Got it.
The lead singer.
Oh, yes.
He actually, fun fact, the majority of the male lead singer that we see, he plays.
Oh, right on.
Yeah. Because there's such heavy makeup.
He's very wraithy.
He's very good at being wraithy, so they have him wraithy often.
I like it.
And Agam Darshi, who plays an Athosian that we really only see in a couple scenes.
Okay.
But the reason I'm putting her is because those in the Stargate watching circle who also know Sanctuary, she is Kate from Sanctuary, who I don't think you haven't seen her yet because she really comes in like.
I'm learning that shows do that now that they share.
Yeah.
So.
Well, especially because this was such an Amanda Tapping production.
Yeah. I'm watching Private Practice.
Yeah.
And I've seen before, but I've also rewatching Grey's Anatomy. Both shows I've already seen, but now I'm noticing so many of the characters. They're like, hey, you're on this other one. Hey, you're on. In fact, one of the guests in Private Practice becomes a main character on Grey's Anatomy. Completely different character, but same actor.
I've actually seen more of Private Practice than I have of Grey's Anatomy. And it's because randomly Nick started watching it. Sure. And also one of the guys is in Rent.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Well, and Audra's in it too. Spoiler alert, Idina Menzel is a recurring guest also.
Guys, I like Audra.
Yeah. Shonda Rhimes likes her Broadway people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, also Audra's married to Will Swenson, who's he's awesome.
Nice.
So.
Incoming wormhole.
We start with previously on. We met the Athosians. The Wraith are horrible, and they're waking up. Cool beans. Incoming wormhole. They put the iris up.
So here's the thing. Will we get a proper Walter? Like a proper, hey, we see you every week guy, or is there one and only Walter?
There's only one and only Walter.
There can only be one.
There are a couple different technicians that we will see. Some of them we get to know more than others.
Okay.
This guy, I don't think this is one of the ones we actually learn their name of, but we see him a bit in this first season.
Not everyone can be a Walter.
There's only one Walter. Mm-hmm. There can be only one. But it's John's IDC, and they've only been on it for a few hours, and they're already coming in hot. So Weir lowers the shield, and Wraith Stunner Blast starts shooting through the Stargate.
Sure.
As soon as the team is through, Weir orders the shield back up. Before the shield can get up, there's a Wraith Stunner that comes through and takes McKay directly in the face.
How shitty is that? When you're already at home and it still gets you. You're like, but when you think you've made it to
And
safe space,
he just drops.
yeah. Also, can we talk about this? Is McKay really built to be off-world? I'm
You
a
know,
little concerned.
I mentioned this later, and we'll get to it.
Yes.
And I will only say is we were asking the same thing about Daniel in early seasons.
You're right.
However, in early seasons, they weren't already giving Daniel a P90 and attacking Wraith.
And I don't know that the Gould were like all up in their shit yet.
Yeah, so we'll get to that later.
All right.
And
Okay.
but I will say,
Fair.
like, just how amazing David Hewlett is at physical action.
Yes.
He fucking throws himself on that ground,
You know,
in a way that you're like, that hurts.
so I'm currently in my workouts. I'm
Yeah.
adding some yoga in, right?
Yeah.
And I'm trying to do the thing where you're from your low squat, you roll yourself backwards.
Yeah.
I refuse to throw myself backwards. I'm maybe 3 inches off the ground.
It's hard.
I'm like, I can't do it.
Now I think that there's a difference of if I had a mat, which he had a mat underneath
Sure,
him,
yeah.
I'd be like, no problem, just
just
throw
slam
my
in there.
body.
But I'm on the garage with my
Yes.
thin little yoga mat. It's
Yes.
the only thing between that and my butt bones.
I would be the same hesitancy.
So, I mean, commitment. I will give him that. There is some commitment that he did there. Even with a mat, it's going to hurt a little bit.
I will say one of my last dance studios was partnered with a gymnasium, like a proper gymnasium. Oh my gosh, that was so much fun to just randomly throw yourself around.
Yeah, to have that freedom.
It was fun.
You just need to learn how to fly. Because that way, if the fall starts
I can fly.
if the fall doesn't work out, you're like, I'm going to just turn this into a floating thing.
Float now.
What a cool way to learn that you have superpowers. Like you're falling and then you just kind of hover.
Well,
like you don't full on fly.
But that's, when your superpowers usually have to kick in.
Right. When you're
it's when you're in life-threatening situations.
Yeah, I like it.
Yes. He goes down hard, but he's not dead yet. I'm not dead yet.
Not dead yet.
So cut to McKay drooling in the infirmary. His whole head is numb. He can't talk. He tries to talk. And Carson's like, he'll be fine. Don't worry about it. And because he's fine, Carson's like, it's actually really fascinating. The paralysis is only temporary. Their stunners not meant to kill them.
Yeah.
And so basically, since he's fine, everyone can just laugh at the situation except for McKay.
Mm-hmm.
And we're
because he can't move.
He can't move.
All he can do is drool. Yeah. It's like the great morning drool where you're like, what's up, sexy face? Except you're not sexy at all. You're covered in crust.
Weir calls John out because she wants to chat.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a good chat.
This is where we get a really, one of my favorite eyebrow.
Oh, yeah.
We get what I'm going to call the trademark Shepherd eyebrow. It's just one, and it's not aimed at her either.
No.
It's aimed at McKay, like, I'll be back. There's something going on.
Yeah.
That eyebrow tells a whole story.
It does.
It's very chatty.
So she wants to know what happened on the planet because it's the 5th time out of 9 that they've encountered the Wraith on a planet. Those aren't coincidences anymore.
Yeah.
So they have a spy on Atlantis. Credits.
She goes here so soon.
But I don't know if it is how soon it is, because if it was 3 times out of 6 and it's half the times, a couple weeks ago, then she might be thinking that already.
But here's where my problem comes in.
Yeah.
So this is a woman well trained in diplomacy. So for her to make this a pointing fingers thing, when you say there's a spy, you're pointing a finger. Now, if she said we're being tracked, that's different than saying there's a spy.
Well, but I have problems with the way Weir handles this in a little bit, but at the same time, she's a diplomat, but she's never been the leader of an expedition before.
That's true.
So her going, at this point, she's like, we're past the point where this is a coincidence.
Yeah,
so
which I agree with that.
I don't think her by saying there's a spy is necessarily pointing a finger. If she was saying Teyla's the spy, it would be pointing a finger.
See, I think you're putting blame for someone so well versed in communication.
Yeah,
her wording is poor.
Her wording is poor. I will give her that.
Which I would, again, you can.
But she does play most of this episode in that very, like, I am not committing either way.
Yeah.
Because you have Bates on one side, you have John on the other side, and she really is like, I'm not taking anything off the table.
Yeah.
I'm trying to gather all the information possible. And I think her wording of the term spy here is mainly just put in there for the dramaticness of the moment. But I don't know if she thinks it is a purposeful spy as much as, which it ends up being a non-purposeful spy.
It's not a spy at all. Yeah, really.
Well, the tracker thing is a spy. It's a non-intelligent spy.
Well, again, they're being tracked.
Yes.
They're not being spied.
So
there's no infiltration. We will agree to disagree. I think her approach is poor. I think anyone who has the same field that she does would agree. Now, is she under a high stress situation? Absolutely. Yeah. Is she in a completely new world and maybe her anxieties kick in of I need to protect? Absolutely.
It's one of those where I think if you're Monday morning quarterbacking it, and if she would do the same thing again, she's like, yeah, I probably would have done different things.
Right.
If she's in the middle of it, of having everything attacked, and she's not, she's been leader of the SGC, but she's still not.
And I can't blame her for it without being in the situation.
And that's what
I will say, she the job is to not let your personal emotions get involved. And she definitely does.
And I think as she goes, she's realizing that she's not necessarily handling this because even we'll get to it later because we're jumping way ahead of the game. But get to it later when Teyla's like, you should have talked to me first. She goes, yeah, I should have.
Yeah. And that's fair. Yeah. She realized she fucked up. Anyway.
Okay.
Just communications corner.
Yeah.
Is in.
This is a poor communication episode.
Yeah. This is
from all sources.
Communications corner lesson. You practice what is the word? I always forget the word of it. Detachment.
Yeah, no one in this episode communicates well.
No.
So in the briefing room, McKay is massaging his foot on the table. No, at least put it in your lap.
Yeah, dude.
Also, if you're going somewhere where you're probably going to have limited washing capabilities, don't bring white socks.
Oh, yeah.
Just as a thing, don't bring white socks.
Oh.
Anyway, John is also playing solitaire, which I love. So Weir comes in and starts the meeting. No, they are not waiting for Teyla, which John has major issues with.
Oh, yeah.
Bates doesn't.
His radar's going up.
Because Bates is pretty sure the spy is a Thosian, since she's an Thosian, and her priority would be with her people and not with the base. And it gets, the first time in the episode it gets heated between John and Bates. There's a number of times they basically want to rip each other's throats out. But thankfully Weir is a diplomat, in this case at least.
If nothing else, she knows how to deal with like tiffs.
Yes.
Any type of she's great at what she does. She just has the monsters are due on Maple Street moment.
Yes.
And I think that's what we're at.
She goes, look, base security and the people here are my top concern. As it should be everyone's. And the fact is they do keep encountering the Wraith. Like, it's not a coincidence anymore.
Yeah.
And two of the worlds that they visited were unpopulated, and the Wraith were still there when there's nothing for them to hunt. Someone is alerting them.
Yes.
So McKay points out that if it was someone here on the base, Atlantis would be attacked, which is valid.
Right.
But they can't just stop using the gate. They have to find more ZPMs. Because the power to place to defend the city, to contact Earth, all these different reasons.
They got to keep that energy coming in.
Exactly. And Bates wants to jump right in and just herd all the Athosians into one corner of the city.
Sure.
And he starts dreaming up to what Sumner would do when he would hear, but he's not, John insists.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Yep. I will say that one thing that both Weir and Shepard do well here is that they, in this moment at least, they don't let their anger get the best of them.
Yes.
Bates is angry.
Bates is angry.
And them too, while they're really upset, you can tell they don't let that control the conversation. So I will give them that.
And it's also very interesting here, kind of the power dynamics between Bates and John.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's truly a struggle.
Because while Bates is head of security, John is still the head of the military component of the base.
Which
And
essentially makes him the boss.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Weir points out that, look, we're not going to be treating anyone like prisoners, but we are going to safeguard, Stargate operations, these important aspects, which I think is valid depending on how you're doing it.
Right.
And we also learned they've been on Atlantis for 3 months now.
Yeah. Those MREs are probably getting real.
Oh, and Weir wants to meet. Well, they probably get some meat off world at this point.
That's
They've been
true.
trading
Gosh,
for
I hope
food.
so. Some jerky.
And Weir wants to meet with all the Athosians because she hasn't in 3 months. Learn who they are, and Gates' travel is suspended.
That's true. She probably. I think this episode is like when Weir learns all the things that she's like, oh yeah, I need to catch up on this other stuff.
Because I know she knows Teyla. She probably knows hauling a bit.
Yeah.
But there's probably not. It's just probably the top level.
And it's on her to make that effort.
Oh, yeah.
Where are the, the social committees? Where it's like the interplanetary mingling.
Picnic.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe a picnic, maybe a board game night.
I would love
all of
board game
these
night.
things. Imagine trying to teach life or
Oh God.
I like it.
Teach them Risk.
Oh, that was one that everyone should. They'd probably kick our ass at
They
Risk.
probably would kick our ass.
I'd be like, I've been playing this game my whole life. Got it.
Except with people.
Yeah.
So out in the gate room, a soldier from South Africa, it looks like. I love the little flags and everyone.
Yeah. It is fun.
Stops Teyla, even though she's on her way to see Weir.
Mm-hmm.
The control room is now off limits. And she sees the rest of her team leaving a meeting. And they're all looking very happy, very confused. She's confused. John and her head out to the balcony, and John fills her in the situation.
I'm glad he does that.
Yes. The first thing he does is go to Teyla.
Yes.
And
really, I wish Weir had. And I think I wish she does too.
Well, and I wonder if it was one of those where Weir didn't have a chance to go to Teyla first because Teyla was there and John just immediately went. Now she could have went and joined the conversation.
Yeah. I think she may see that as like, oh, I should have done that.
But also,
and maybe John's jumped the gun. Maybe he overstepped in doing so.
Maybe he overstepped, but also it may have been Teyla is on John's team.
Right.
So, and John as team leader.
Yeah.
But you also have that dynamic versus you have the leader of the Athosians versus the leader of the Atlantis base.
I think
it's like which part trumps the other for Teyla?
The best case scenario here would have been John saying, I'm going to talk to Teyla right now. Are you coming?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then we're saying yes.
Yeah.
As the leader of this base, and then you as the leader of this crew, we should both go talk to her.
Yeah. But either way, it's John and her on the
I'm
balcony.
all about the Monday morning communications corner today.
So he explains to her the precautions and how Weir wants to get to know the people better and just to meet them, nothing personal or anything. But Teyla takes it actually really personally.
Yeah, of course.
Given the generations in the history of the horror that the Wraith have inflicted on her people, she's like, the fact that you would suspect us in the slightest of working with the Wraith is attacking her honor and the honor of her people.
It's like, it's not even the suspicion, it's the suspicion of being with the Wraith.
Exactly.
If they were suspect of anything else, she'd be like, okay, fine, that's your prerogative and that's how this shit works. But the fucking Wraith?
Exactly.
The Wraith?
Yeah.
Fuck you, dude. If anyone hates the Wraith, it's us, is really where she's at.
Basically. She would stake her life on the innocence of her every member of her community. But John's like, look, laying it out, he's getting tired of getting attacked by the Wraith every time they head through the gate and bad guys trying to kill him. She's like, look, we just need a little cooperation. Mm-hmm. And Teyla is furious, but she agrees in a way that's also saying, fuck you.
Yeah. Which happens a lot this episode. People say fuck you without saying fuck you.
The shade that Teyla gives Bates a couple times.
Well, and even Bates, with all due respects.
Oh my gosh.
All right, we'll get there.
Maybe this is the 50 Shades of Shade. That's what this episode is called.
50 Shades of Shade.
Because there is shade all over this episode. Just a whole bunch of silent fuck yous. So the first up for the interviews is Halling. And this is not getting to know him over coffee and a chat. Like, Bates is there. It's being recorded. Someone is, like, transcribing it or taking notes.
That's part of the problem with Bates is there.
Like, this is fucking intimidating. For who, it doesn't matter who you're interviewing.
Yeah.
We learned.
Imagine you're like, okay, I've been running from these bad guys my whole life. Now I'm on this other planet thing, fucking base, whatever it is, with these random people we never met, but they were here for us, so we think we trust them. That's pretty cool. A lot of our people died, but that's okay. You know, we're all working together and we're building this trust. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Now we think you're one of them.
We learned that all the Athosians have been confined to quarters. And I would like to know, and we never touched this, because I think I know the answer and it's not good.
Oh no.
Are all of the expedition members confined to their quarters when they're off duty?
No.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it's no.
No, it's a pure double standard.
It's exactly. It's one of those where if you're trying to actually figure this out, you would confine everyone to their quarters when they're not on duty.
Again, she fucks up a lot in this episode.
I will give her this. We don't actually know either way. We have our suspicions,
True.
but we don't know if they didn't confine everyone else to quarters.